Hello, it is your favorite teacher, Mr. Nelson. I am going to be talking to you a little bit about Charles Louis the Second de la Brede at de Montesquieu, better known for you as Montesquieu. It is easier to just remember his last name rather than, or Baron de Montesquieu, if you wish. He is very important to the American Constitution as much as any of the writers are. He had many of the ideas for the American Constitution, even though he was not involved in creating the American Constitution. He believed in constitutionalism, where you follow the document of the Constitution. It was very important to share the power equally into three parts. So we're going to be talking about that here in a couple of seconds. Is to stop despotism, which is one person from being a tyrannical leader is going to share the division of power. So you have three parts. All right. The first part is going to be over here, and it is going to be the legislative power. And I'm going to create a column to represent the legislative powers. So I start here, and I'm going to curve it down like so. It is curved around here and up at the top, and come back here and curve it so it is the columns. We're going to continue the column down here to the bottom of the paper, and columns are fairly fancy. They have some fancy decoration across here, and fancy decoration across here, and maybe you put a little decoration in here, right there. So I don't know, it looks pretty good to me. Alright, it is maybe some dots across here to make a fancy legislative column. This column has what are called flutes. Flutes are the curves that curve in on the column here, and it is not a solid column, but it has indentation that is looking like it's called flutes. That is what it is called. And this over here is called the legislative power. The legislative power. It is the same basic words as come from legal, and legal is legalism, and having to be legal deals with laws. Okay, so they are going to create the laws that everyone must follow. So they're creating the laws. All right, it is the legislative power. All right. The second part that we are going to talk to, it is equal. That is very important. It is a sharing of the powers. So you're going to put in equal symbol here. And it is equal to the judicial powers. Okay. So I'm going to draw first a gavel. The gavel is, you know, like the hammer that they bang in court if you've ever watched any court shows. So up here is kind of a circle, an oval, sorry, and here is another oval. Right here is a rectangle. Put it in there and fill it in like so. And down here is another oval. And if you put it together, another oval, it is like the front of the hammer. Also looks like a hamburger. It's delicious, of course. But right here you've got the handle of the gavel, which I will draw right here. It is actually easier if I switch sides and draw from here now. So here is the hammer handle. It has got a circle here, a small rectangle here, and then on the end is another circle. That is for when you bang the gavel, it will not fly out of your hands. Okay, so you have to be careful with that. Then here is what you slam the gavel on. it is just three simple rectangles. This one is actually a trapezoid, and that is one of my favorite shapes, of course, the trapezoid. So this is power called judicial. This is the judges. Judicial. This here is an I connected to the C. I apologize, I have not got a perfect writing. And they also judge the people and judge the laws. Are the laws created by the legislative? Are they legal? So we have judge laws. Are the laws legal? They must be legal or they are not going to be allowed to be laws. Alright, it is very important. And they have equal power here to the person who is in charge. This person is called the executive, and the executive is the single person who can take power for 1/3 of this tri-part government, where they share the power equally. And the most famous for me is a man who is wear a large hat in the United States government. And so I'm going to start with the top of his hat, and it comes down like so. You might know this man. He was the 60th president of the United States. He's a man is named Abraham Lincoln, and he has a fancy hat on like so. It is also his eye here, his eye here, and his eye here, and his nose here, and he's got a line next to his mouth and nose here. He's got a mouth here, and don't forget he has quite a beard right down here. Have lots of hair, and it of course goes up the side here. We need to have an ear, so he can hear us here, and his beard goes down. So, and he is looking a little bit like he needs to have maybe a couple of extra lines here and here. And do not forget his beard. A little more scribble on the beard that makes it look a little bit nicer to me. Right in here is the jacket. And it is very nice. He always dressed very nicely. And so we've got this jacket here. Don't forget, he's got a nice shirt on. It is always white. And down here is his jacket. Don't forget, that's a jacket. If you to add a little more beard along the side here, you want to shade in his top hat, then feel free to shade in the top hat here. Maybe you want to just do a little on the side of that. And this is, of course, the executive powers. Executive. The executive power is the head of the government. They also carry out their laws. Carry it out, you know, they're in charge of making sure that everyone follows the law. So, we are going to say carry out laws. For example, if you were to execute someone, you would carry out the sentence. Execute him. So, it is in charge of the executive to make sure the police forces are working correctly, that the military is working correctly. It is carrying out laws, right? It is not the executive making the laws. It is not the judge making the laws. The laws come from here, the legislative group. Now, if the executive does not like the laws in the American government, the American president can use a power called the veto, and the veto power, the government, the president decides that he is not going to sign the bill into a law. All right. It can also be struck down when the judicial looks at it and says, no, no, this is against the Constitution. And we know that Montesquieu was a very big believer in the Constitution. He also believed in preserving civil rights as well as your civil liberties. He wanted you to have as much freedom as possible, and he believed by dividing the powers that it would preserve your freedom the best way possible. He also believed in abolition of the slavery. He does not believe at all that slavery should exist. He wants equality for everybody, and it is a very big important part. He also believed in social and economic justice, so he believes in the judicial process of going through the law to the judges to make sure that everyone follows the law. Internationalism, he believes that everyone in these countries should be working together so to improve each other's countries. And he says his quote, in Republican governments, all men are equal. Equal they are also in despotic governments, in the former, because they are everything, in the latter, because they are nothing. Despotism, of course, is the one ruler who is ruling as a tyrant, and he does not favor that at all. All right? So, I hope that you follow along on Charles Louis Secondat del Bray de Montesquieu. Here he is, to remember that he believes in three equal parts. You can remember that the bottom of the M in Montesquieu has 1, 2, 3 parts of the M. If it is not 3 parts of the M, then it is an N. Ha! That is Nelson. That is almost as good as the 3. All right.